Welcome to this week in Brave Exvius for September the 7th, 2022. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about this week. It still won't be as long as some of the previous episodes, but we've got a lot going on this week here. I'm just going to get all my socials up and running here so everybody can join us live. If you want to join us live, always come on over to the Twitch channel that will be linked in the description below. But let's dive right into it, man, because we had a lot of stuff going on this week. Before this week started, we did get notice that we were going to get some compensation, and it was going to be applied on the first day, and that's where we, it was the day after we had the last show. So we're going to just go ahead and talk through that right away. I had some thoughts the week before on what I thought it should be. They got pretty close, I will say, especially for the people who were locked out. I was not very confident they'd have the ability to determine who was locked out and who wasn't. I didn't think that their systems were set up to be let's just say like actually useful. I work at a place where there's a lot of miscommunication when it comes to this kind of stuff, and I just don't expect there to be good logs. I don't expect anybody to be able to find out any information, and I don't expect anybody to do anything about obvious errors and clean up processes and things like that, right? So I'm already used to that every day. And then I'm also used to the last few years of, playing this game and, where the ball's been dropped and so on. And I'm jaded even from this calendar year. I had, before this outage, I had a huge problem with the way they handled some events in the beginning of the year, right? So I did not expect any of this. I said what I thought we should get. If you look at the rewards right here, all players are listed first. Everybody got 500 lapis. Everybody got free pots, which is cool. 300 coins. I think that's enough to buy, is it 50 per or 100 per for the shards? It's enough to buy some shards, which is cool. You get a 10+1 summon ticket. You get a 2 fragment select tickets, which is pretty good. I like that a lot. Unfortunately for me, I didn't really have anything that I could pick with those that made a whole lot of sense, so I just kind of picked units that I needed to get to EX2 or whatever for an extra copy of their STMR. Some Super Sight and some Esperor, which they didn't need to do because those players were in the game. They never lost access to the game as far as I understand, but really nice. That Esperor is it's a day and a half basically worth of farming, because you can get 20 a day from the 4 stages that are right now, so that's cool. So we lost 6 days of effective game time. So I wanted the ore from all 6 days. Even if you could log in the first day, you logged in early. Even if you could log in at 2 in the morning or whatever on the day the service was restored, there was no guarantee you were going to get paid off. I mean, now if you for those 2 days, so they had to cover all 6 days, and I'm glad to say that they actually did here. You can kind of start reading this on your own. But 13,500 lapis. I think I wanted 20k. This is close. I really can't be mad about this, plus the 500 from before. The rare tickets, it's a lot. 41 rare tickets. 18 guaranteed tickets, pretty good. 100 pots, 120 ore, so that is all 6 days worth of ore, plus the extra 30 for the inconvenience. Some metal minotaurs, some gill, 5 tickets for the fragment select, so that's 7 total for you if you were out. 1,500 coins, pretty nice. A bunch of raid restores, which I mean I'll probably use tomorrow because this raid has been up for so long. We don't really need it, but we'll see what's going on tomorrow with the raid. I'm really looking forward to seeing what drops, because what I'm wondering is, since the raid for tomorrow was supposed to be out this week, does that drop TMR Moogles for Jekt or not? Or does it drop for Titus, or does it drop for any of the other units besides Kamari? If it does, I think I'll probably use them there, because there's some good TMRs available from these units, and having a big stack of those for future pulls wouldn't be too bad. Super Sight, again, most players who have been logged in don't need Super Sight, but it's there in case we ever get a new Esper. A bunch of extra tickets, 100 Red Star quartz, which is cool because you might have missed out on the Red Star on Wednesday if you didn't do your weekly quartz and whatnot, you might have missed this, so they gave you this. 2 keys to make up for the daily enlightenment you could have done, which is 350 a day. So I think running both these keys gives you more than 2,000. I think you get 1,000 a piece. So this breaks you even. And then some daily coins, which is fine. Now here's where I was asking for 20k. I was asking for 20k because of the 2 last days of Fountain of Lapis that could have been missed. And if you had purchased the 812 Fountain of Lapis, they gave you an extra 4,200. So this covers the Fountain of Lapis and then some. I think it was really good that they did that. We really needed that. This was probably the one I had the least amount of faith in that they would fix, and they came through on that. When you add this to the total amount of Lapis, you get almost to that 20k mark that I was asking for. And, one thing I was worried about was once I got back in and I unbound from Facebook and bound to Google, would I still get this affected player's compensation? I don't know what system they use, but I did get this even after I was bound to Google. I didn't want to wait and risk it. I just, wasn't comfortable with Facebook anymore. I actually never really have been. I would actually completely delete my Facebook if I didn't have just like one specific group of people on there that used Messenger, and one specific local business that puts all their updates on there, although they are starting to use Twitter more, so I'm liking that. I definitely don't want to be connected to Meta in any way. I'm not sure why I never unbound and rebound, especially after they made it available to do whatever you wanted. There was like a window, I think, when they first put out Google binding, and then eventually they made it permanent where you can just go in the menu, unbind and rebind. So, yeah, I'm not sure exactly why I didn't do it. Maybe just paranoia that I would lose my account potentially. But after this, I definitely don't want Meta to be the company standing in between me and logging into the game. So of the two that you have to trust in order to have your account backed up, as little as I trust both, I'm going to trust Google more. So I unbound and rebound. But at least with this compensation, we got what we deserved. They also, which is not noted here, extended the claim period of a bunch of stuff that you might have missed out on while the game was down. So as you can see here, there's a bunch of claim period extensions. They also have a bunch of event extensions here, and some of these other things that were all extended. All these banners and stuff, if you wanted to pull on them, they stuck around, and you can see it's a super long list here. And then login bonuses, they extended these, and they also paid these rewards back out to you. So and then they kept all these bundles up as well, so if you missed anything that you were supposed to miss, you could get it. And then also down here they have half energy. They extended that. They have all these things open. Everything's open until I think tomorrow, and then we'll get back on like a normal thing. So we had a whole extra couple days. We had like a Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we had a whole extra week. So everything that was extended through that week where we were screwed also got extended again for another week. And you had 9 extra days to be able to get everything done and buy whatever you wanted. And this was good. However, I don't want to let it like slide and say that this is above and beyond. This is the bare minimum of what I would expect for a problem like this. So I guess take with that what you will. I'm not going to sing praises because none are really deserved. This is the bare minimum. However, that being said, when we haven't gotten the bare minimum in the past, it's been very frustrating and disappointing. So I will give some kudos to that. They got this right. At least they got this right. I guess you can't really expect more from a mobile game. I'd like to, but you really can't. And I guess we just have to be happy that they got this sorted, and everybody got the compensation they were supposed to get. So there you go. Yeah, compensation came out. It's basically what we expected. And let me see if I have any other notes here. Yeah, the only thing I did write this down. The only thing I didn't think was necessary to extend was the raid, because we already had over a week of the raid, and then we had that last few days of the raid. I think it would have been better to just let the raid go and then give more rewards back, and then start the new Final Fantasy X raid on time. Because now this Final Fantasy X raid is going to run for an extra week, and it's just, raids. I know people like them because they're a really good way to start off new accounts. They're a really good way to freely, without any energy constrictions whatsoever, gather a bunch of materials and stuff. So if like you're short on crystals or whatever, you can get a bunch of them extra. You can get money and cactars and all that. But they are the most time consuming thing in terms of logging into the game multiple times a day that there is, because you get one raid orb back an hour and you can only stack 5. I think a good solution to the raid orb problem would be to let you stack 10, just like Item World, in your pool, and that way you don't only have to log into the game twice a day. The one thing I don't like about raid, again, it's having to log into the game more times a day than I'm already looking to log in. I'm already not a big fan of running the Moogle expedition 3 times a day. I think that should be just once a day. Make it a 12-hour long thing, and give 1% or whatever per run. I really like the way the game respects your time in a lot of aspects, in terms of energy, letting you blow it all, and then like just log off for the day and go about your business. And if you want to play more, they handle it really well with potions and restores and stuff like that. So if you want to grind all day, you just grind with potions. They're easy to earn, and you can earn a bunch more in lots of different ways. You can buy more, you can watch ads for more, and so on and so forth. So the only thing I didn't like was, we're going to have raid for another week now, and it's just more stuff I have to do. And then I'm compelled to do. I don't have to do it, but I'm compelled to do it because it's value. I'm just leaving it around if I don't log in. And that's one thing I like about this game more than anything, is that a lot of other games on mobile, they force you to be playing all day long to get what you want to get out of them, and this one doesn't. So that's the one note I had for the compensation. Other than that, I was hoping for more. We didn't get it. This was the bare minimum. We got the bare minimum. That's fine. So there you go. Okay, that being said, let's talk about some new units that came out this week. Go ahead and chop on over here. I believe I have them in a squad. Okay, I don't have Seymour in here. So let's go ahead and look at Seymour real quick. Seymour, 4-star base. Did I spell his name wrong? I must have. Anyway, Seymour, 4-star base, goes all the way to NV. Useless TMR, completely useless. Don't ever make any of these. His staff is pretty good for Yuna. So 25 evocation damage on a weapon. That's also one of the weapons she uses. Not too bad. It also doubles as if you want to make a magic evoker, because it's got magic and spirit, so pretty good. And it's two-handed officially, so it hits the damage modifier. Nirvana is one-handed, so if you equip your Brave Shifted Yuna with this, she'll do way more damage than you would if you had the Nirvana on, even though the Nirvana gives like a free base attack and all that jazz. So take a look real quick here at Yuna. You can see here, if we shift her over, she does evoke damage, and even if you equip her with all the evoke materia and stuff like that, she still doesn't really get to cap. So that extra 25 from a stick is pretty good. But she has filled evoke gauges and stuff with her TMR thing on. She gets free 500 spirit from here. She gets 500 spirit from her card. Missing the 500 spirit from the Nirvana stick is not that big of a deal. You'd much rather have the two-handed variants, and then you get a bonus set of evoke damage, which you might be able to take her to cap with, depending on what other equipment you have available. But even with all the best evoke materia, I can't get mine to 300%. I can get it like 250, I think. And she can still, if she's the X3, she can still easily cap for you in a lot of these Vision World stages, which we'll talk about in a minute. Okay, so that Seymour, let's go back here real quick. Talk about his abilities real fast. Yeah, he's totally worth leveling up. He has all these different magic elements. He covers a lot of stuff. So if you need to seal a boss and you can do it with magic in return, he has these really cheap casted spells. He even has the bolting strike one, so he can chain these up if he needs to. He's got some dark damage. He's basically the dark breaker. That's the same breaker in the cycle of all those JP breakers that we were getting. So Lulu, Axstar, the Return, Regan, the President version, all those guys. Edge, Ninja Edge, they're all like the breakers. They're the same break amount for the same whatever and whatever. He gets a couple of abilities. I'm actually leveling mine up naturally because he's just sitting in all of my parties for the extra um, uh, bonus event rewards. So I'm just kind of leveling mine up naturally, and then he has some kind of additional dark field here, which is kind of cool. So when he evokes Anima, he gets a dark field. This might be useful somewhere else in DV later on. He has a bunch of base killers though, which he gets at 120, which are a lot different. And then he has the ability to restore the Evo gauge. He's got a bunch of extra stuff that these other breakers and stuff don't have, which is pretty cool. A bunch of passives and all that. What else he's going to be good for is with his stats, once you get him to 120 and everything like that, he can carry a lot of other stuff for you. So if you want to bring him into the battle, have him have a bunch of killers and all that, and seal with his magic, he can also carry like a bunch of items or breaks that maybe you want to use. Maybe you want to use one of the break materia because he has the little breaker symbol here for his dark break. But maybe you want to bring a light break or electric break or earth break. You can put any of those materia on him. He's great to carry those. You can put a bunch of other casting abilities on him that you might need to cast, and he can carry all that stuff for you, which is good. So better than average, I'd say. This NVA is going to be better than both of the ones we're getting tomorrow. It's probably better than anything that we've got since Squall, probably. Well, no, Mediana, right, came in between Squall and him, but she was 7 months late, so I don't think we should count that because we should have had her way earlier. She's really good too. But yeah, I'm struggling to think of an NVA that's any good since Squall, actually. Whereas Seymour's pretty. Oh, Vane's okay. Vane's pretty good. But again, so Vane and Seymour are kind of like on the same wavelength. And I'd say those two are pretty useful, but I think Seymour's more useful just because he's locked to dark in terms of like what he's going to do with his magic damage, but he doesn't. That's not his only role. He's bringing more support than Vane is. Vane's doing some other things that Seymour's not doing as well, but I think it's 50-50. They're both good. Like I said, better than average. Waka could be a shout for Waka there. He's got a nice break when you're at EX2. It's only 87% though. And he does have a weapon that's good, and he has bolting strike chain stuff, but it's water. Waka's probably in there as well. So those three, I think, are the only decent ones we've had in a while. A lot of our other NVAs, like Noreen and all that, have been terrible. The ones we're getting tomorrow are both really bad. But hey, they're there. Whatever. Now let's go to Jekt here. Jekt is... I think Jekt is great. The problem is Jekt is premium. I think it's the same thing with the Titus that we got last week. These two units, Jekt and Titus, they're really good. The problem is that they don't do anything outside of like dark visions. So, and this vision world that they're designed for. They've got great equipment. That's another thing that's cool about them. It kind of justifies their price tag, but it doesn't. The 20 extra K for a pity, it's just too high considering what you get. Like Titus is a damage dealer, right? He's locked to water or whatever. Jekt, same thing. He's a great tank. He has Omni cover. He also can do damage. A lot of tanks can't do much damage. He can do significant damage while being probably the best physical tank that we have access to. The problem is this little robot called Runda exists, and Runda is free. You get him through the story. You get all of his gear for free through the story. You get EX3 through the story, and he has just as good as physical mitigation as Jekt. He just doesn't have Omni cover. Well, couple that with the fact that Runda also has a chainable bolting strike move, and he kind of serves his purpose. Like, there's not many fights where you're going to take Runda in there and he's not going to be able to just chain it up at the end to help you, make sure you get that damage in. And he's going to cover everybody manually if he has to, and all that, and do the work. So the thing about Eject is, if you pull him off of a ticket, it's awesome. That's what I did. I just threw a couple tickets trying to get a couple more Seymours to get EX3 Seymour, and I spiked Eject. So it's great for me, but there was no way I was going to pull on this. Same thing happened to me with Titus. I threw a couple tickets out there, just for funsies, and I spiked the Titus. So I'm not going to buy anything Lapis related or money related for these two units. I think they'll get power crept pretty quickly in terms of damage. Their gear will be relevant for a long time. The God of Blitzball and the Titus close, but their units themselves will not. I mean, Jack, you could probably be still tanking with him for quite some time, but EX0 Jack tanking isn't a great option for a lot of stuff, especially when you consider premium unit, and if you want to take him in a clash, we still haven't gotten rid of that stupid EX requirement crap. So, you're going to have to find shards and put Eject immediately into your shard dungeon and see what you can do if you want to use them for clash. If you didn't go to pity and get some on the way, you're certainly not going to use them to tank in the next clash. And the thing about the next clash is, guess what? It's not weak to water, so that's all he's going to be doing is tanking. Yeah, but the one good thing about Eject, though, over Titus is Eject did get a bunch of buffs on the global version. I'm not going to go through them all. You can read through them if you want, but I think that's what we need. We need more buffs. They don't even have to necessarily be morale related. If they're a damage dealer, they probably do need to be morale related, but since Jeff's main job is to physically tank for you, and then he can also do some side damage, all that damage is basically bonus. I wouldn't be super mad about, that not getting buffed. But he did get a bunch of buffs, and that's what units need. We need units that can be support in Caw or tank in Caw without completely being invalidated by the global exclusive units. So if there's a Caw where you need Runda and Chow or something that's coming, or maybe you can do Maeve and Runda or some weird combination, Jack can take the spot of Runda, and you can do more damage if it's weak to water, so there you go, right? So here's his LB. It's water damage. He does have this attack that's not water, but his real damage is locked to water. So he can chain for you without having to be locked to water and imbue, but he can't do his real damage without obviously his SLB and all that. So yeah, interesting to see premium SLB units again. We had some with Dark Rain and the Finas. Just not justifying the premium price tag. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with the next few events, and we'll see what happens. I think with Final Fantasy IV will be the big tell. Final Fantasy IV will be the tell to see if they are really serious about buffing JP units for global or not. If they don't buff those units, and they don't make any money on those banners, I really feel like global is going to be in a bad place for quite a while, and we're only going to be using global units for this foreseeable future. So fingers crossed on that one. I think that stuff is coming soon. I don't think we'll see Nier until October. And I think we'll see in the middle of October, we'll see Nier, and then we'll see all the GLEX Halloween units come back towards the end of October. I think we might even get a double banner, two different NVs, two different new NVs from Halloween, and you'll see Carton get some buffs and some other stuff be run back. So yeah, that's all there is for the new units. Again, good if you can spike them on tickets, great, but I would not pull for either one of these. Unfortunately. And we had a bunch of different events to go through. We'll talk about Vision World a little bit here. So we still have a lot of our other stuff up here. Sin was an interesting fight. This one, let's see, what do we do here? I believe we just did the 4-unit standard Final Fantasy IV clear. It's Yuna, Waka, Titus, and Seymour, I think it was. There's a pretty specific strategy you can use to get this guy With the fractional damage, you're just basically going to use guts and status immunity to dodge the confusion of the stone, and you just clean them up pretty easy. Nothing complicated here. They really did not change these at all. So especially if you have a Jack and you bring him in, he kind of like extra destroys this for you. If you have a maxed Orin will help you blow these up. This was from in last week. We still have all these other events here that were from the week before with Titus. They're still here and everything. But not much else other than Sin in the Vision World. We'll jump in Vision World here. As with previous Vision Worlds, rank 1 is shareable, which is cool. I definitely like that. I respect that DV is the whale mode for sure, and people who want to like complete their box full of all the units, get to dominate it. But I'm glad that we get Vision Worlds every now and again to let us share rank 1 and get some really nice hefty rewards for Dark Matter, since we're gonna need it with the two-handed weapons coming. The flip side of the Vision World is that you have to farm it for all this extra gear. Again, as I said before, I'm not a huge fan of logging into the game multiple times a day. And especially with the extra tax on our energy reserves right now because of all the ore farming that we need to do for all of us who don't have maxed out espers. It just becomes a bit more of a slog for us to be able to do a Vision World. So now, instead of a Vision World, me getting 3 to 5 to 6 free runs in a day, I'm getting 0 free runs in a day, basically. Because I'm wasting the almost 400 energy I generate in a day on ore farming. So this will feel less bad once I don't need to farm ore anymore. But that might be like a year away, if I want to max out a lot of the espers and stuff. So I'm only finishing up Ashura right now, and then I'm going to start doing some of my other espers that I've been neglecting since the game started. But the farming is okay as long as it's OTK-able. Again, they didn't buff any of this stuff, so like the buffs to Jack are pretty nice. The Orin and Yuna crowns and stuff that you're able to do were pretty cool. That's in the game as well. I didn't mention that, but yeah, Orin and Yuna have crowns, crown abilities now. They don't need them at all. You don't have to touch them. So theoretically, there's nothing to spend your crowns on. I went ahead and crowned both of them because it was only 2 crowns a piece. Which is a lot less than normal for crown upgrades. So like a lot of the crown upgrades have been like 2 and 4 or like 4 and 8 even. And crowns are pretty rare to get right now. I'd probably save yours if you don't need them. If you don't need Una or Orin to get upgraded. But if you've gotten every single crown available to you in the game so far from just events, spending 4 will not put a dent in your amount of crowns. You should still have over 20, I believe. And if you've ever picked up a crown from one of the crest passes that included a crown, if you've gotten a crown from any compensation, if you maybe bought a crown from having extra tokens, maybe you went to double pity on a regular unit or something, you'll definitely have enough crowns for anything that comes soon that you might want crowns for. I'm saving crowns for id when we get our rerun of Xenogears. I'm hoping that by then the Graph will have crown abilities as well, and then those 2 units will be relevant again. And I hope that they update them to be able to equip a fist weapon, just like the 2 mech units that we got from JP. So, all right. Anyway, the Vision World standard. You come into each one of these fights. There's like 5 pieces of equipment and 2 materia that they let you build. You do 2 versions of these fights. It just works like your typical DV. And there's a boss at the end, and instead of being weak to anything, what they do is they strip her weaknesses and just make them, 2 types and whatever. But typically, they'll change the fight around a little bit. So if you come into the last fight here, we don't want to max that. We just want to come into the last fight here. You can use a lot of strategies to cap here. There's only 2 fights that really are tough to cap in terms of following a specific set of things to do. There's this one. All she does is this preemptive lightning attack, which you can evade or just use lightning resist to get around, and then she basically does nothing but like try to blind people for 2 turns. So you really can kill her within the first 3 turns, and you're basically party is not under threat whatsoever. So if you have the units to be able to do this and figure it out, absolutely just go ahead and cap it. It's only requires 10 billion to cap. It's not something crazy. And then this is what I'm doing to farm right now. I'm just using the two most broken units in the game, Sylvie and Chizuru together. And any break will do for the most part. You could even have Sylvie break, I guess, instead of Marion's Blessing probably. But I just use Waka to break since he's already a bonus unit in here, and he has a 87 on his LB. So and that guarantees the kill basically. And then I get my bonuses. You can do a full bonus team. I have Jekt and I have Titus. The problem is with Jekt and Titus at EX0, they don't quite do what I want them to do. I'd have to do a 2-turn clear. I have to do a turn full of setup and then a clear if I put them in. And I don't want to do that. I just want to do 1 turn and out. So I'm just sacking 1 to 200 bonus crystally thingies for a quicker run. But yeah, only this boss here you might need a strat, and then there's a particularly tougher one. Is this one right here? This is Seymour Flux. So the harder version of Seymour Flux, he's weak to Spirit Break. So your best strategy is probably going to be to use Yuna to do this because he is weak to light damage here. So you take your free Yuna, you get her set and ready for killing this guy. Make sure to switch to your light team so you have the boosted whatever. And then you can use some strats. I used some strats from our good friend Gert this week to clear this fight and Yunalesca. So what I'll do is I'll link those videos for you in the description. Check those out. They use a party of, let's see here. Where's my, I think, was I on electric? No, I was somewhere else. I don't know where I was. Where was I at? Maybe I was on wind for Yunalesca, maybe? Oh, yeah, okay. So this is the party for Yunalesca, and then I think the party for Seymour, he switches out Yuna for Ling, because she has Human and Reaper Killer dances, and then she also contributes some damage with the card that has the Extreme Nova chaining on it. So, she gets in on the action for some damage as well. So, two pretty good strats. They're very, very straightforward strats. Hopefully you have all these units. Kaito, everybody should have from the select ticket for sure. You got a free Yuna. You should probably have a Ling if you've been playing at any point. If you've ever had a select ticket, she's a pretty good pickup to use if you've got other stuff. And then hopefully you have Sylvie and Esther from Anniversary, and then hopefully you didn't skip out on Chizuru. Sky is pretty easy to grab as well. She's been in the... it's been a while, but she was in the rewards for a CAW at some point, I think. So you might have been able to pick up 2 of her for free as well. But yeah, good strats. Pretty straightforward. You farm until you can craft the items and stuff. You go and buy the enhancites for each one. The only one that you have to make sure you grab separately is you have to grab the spear from Kamari, the old Kamari. And if you do go in there to buy it, the TMR or the STMR little Moogles say that they are for the new version of Kamari that's coming out tomorrow, but they're actually not. They're for this one. So that's in the news. They mislabeled that. So if you want to go ahead and grab him, get him to 7-star for free, use this thing to get his free STMR here, and then the rest of them you just buy from the King Mog. You buy all the you buy the enhancites, and then all the recipes are given to you from Vision World when you clear all the stages. And then you just come back with your items here, and you go ahead and enhance them. And there's 2 materia as well. They are pretty good. LB damage. This is the level 5 one here. LB damage, 50 to all stats, and then this is for single or sword and shield. So if you have a 2-hander or sword and board, you can equip this up. So this is not bad for tanking. Jack might use that if he doesn't get free capped LB. And then there's a Reaper overbuff materia, which is pretty nice. So if we have anything in the future that's Reaper related, this will be pretty good to have if you could bring a Final Fantasy X unit in. If you're having some problems with the 12 types Reaper, this is going to be a big help for you. You know, just take in either Orin or Titus to that. And, you know, both of them have imbuable attacks. You could take in theory, you could take Inject if you pull one to Chain and give him this, and he'll just do a bunch of extra damage. You know, not a ton, but, you know, you could always give him Chain Cap up and then this. And this is very similar to the Zohar modifier that came with the Xenogears Vision World. So it's the same exact thing. It's a machine overkiller buff. So, like, you know, you go into the battle, first turn, it casts this overkiller buff on you, which is pretty good. So definitely want to make sure you make this for sure, just in case, even though it's only equipable by those units. And then you want to make sure you make all the gear. The Calm is not as important, but, you know, you should be able to farm this over the next week or so and get all the materials you need. Once you switch to... Once you start maxing certain things out, since Yunalesca gives you a random drop of one of the 7 materials, as usual, you probably just want to switch to the stage that drops the materials you need directly. And then always don't forget that you can go and exchange your extra crystals. Once you've bought everything you want at the King Mod shop, come over here to items, hit the other button, and you have all the metals right here that you can exchange for. So make sure that when you're farming for these guys, that you come in here and, okay, now that you have, say, you know, 10,000 extra fragments, you know, you can make a bunch of stuff for the ones that you are short on. So don't forget about that, and make sure you spend your energy in other places if you can. And then lastly, we'll just pull up the news again here, and we'll just go down to our Clash of Wills announcement from the first of the month, which was, you know, that just happened to line up. Let me find it here. Where is it? The Empress Resolution. Is this it? Yeah. Morgana. Oh, no, this is about Morgana. Where is the news for the new Clash? Let's find it. There's a bunch. Here it is. Monthly Bulletin. That's it. Should tell us at the bottom, right? Yeah. Okay. So, new Clash of Wills coming week after next. When Vision World is done. Earth, Fire, and Light, Demon Fairy. So, if you're looking through the GLEX catalog, the obvious pick for the unit will likely be Sakiko. I wouldn't be mad if it was anyone else. When I see Earth damage, I was thinking like Mercedes maybe, which would be cool. I was not really playing at the time when the 4-star base / 6-star units were good. But I kind of started looking at them more. Obviously, Chizuru came around and came out of nowhere and won that popularity poll. And then the non-official anniversary stream, which was really cool to watch, had some cosplay. And there was a Mercedes there, which was very well done, and I appreciate that. So I kind of just started looking at the old units, and I'm like, you know, there's really not any support in the game other than Wilk for axes. And obviously Mercedes is running around with the big axe. So I think it would be really cool. She's Earth Element. Wilk has Earth Element. And he has an axe, and he has an axe in peril. I think it'd be really cool if they just kind of surprised us, and out of nowhere we got a 7-star Mercedes instead of Sakiko. But, you know, Fire and Light, Demon and Fairy Killer, kind of has Sakiko written all over it. You would probably put your money on Sakiko for sure if it was Dark instead of Earth, but because of the Foxfire ability that she has on her gear. But I think that they'll probably end up remaking every global exclusive character, unless we get like some kind of big event where they maybe make a new character. I mean, Wilk was kind of like the last unique character we were probably going to get for a while, just because, you know, the cost of making a new sprite without like any kind of base artwork to go off of is not much higher, but significantly higher. You know, the pixel art is a lot harder to make than a lot of modern art now. It just takes way more time, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's just the easiest one to do right now is Kiko, and we'll get like some of the lesser known and more neglected 4 stars remade unique characters, global characters remade in Neo Visions a little bit later. But I think yeah, you're gonna have this unit. It's gonna be Pretty obviously, probably Sukiko, and then next month we'll probably get another Halloween unit that's not carton. And then November, who knows? November might be where we get that Mercedes I just mentioned, or maybe it's where we get a different character that's kind of been neglected for a few years that was global exclusive. And then from there, probably December, we get a new Christmas unit. I don't know if it'll be Tiana. I think we might. I think Tiana will get buffs, but I think they might pick a new unit to give us instead of just buffing an old unit or whatever. We might get like a Noelle or who knows? Who knows? Maybe a new version of Christine or a new version of Eldrin or somebody that's holiday only, limited time, um, and we might get a better version, of whatever units that is. I think that's pretty solid for the rest of the year. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I hope it's not another SLB unit. Olive turned out okay, but I'm looking for something better with this Clash unit. Like, we've gotten a lot of good damage dealers all in a row. We haven't really gotten a incredible Clash support unit other than Sylvie, who was an anomaly because it was an anniversary unit. Like, everybody's pretty much been a damage dealer or, a damage dealer / breaker or whatever. I'd like to see a nice global support unit that has, support kit for these elements, because Sylvie has Earth and Lightning. She has 3 different killers. I'd like to see a very similar kit to Sylvie's. Maybe not as busted, of course, but I'd like to see a similar kit to Sylvie's where maybe one form is damage and one form is support. And there's support for these 3 elements, or 2 of them at least, of the 3. We don't really need the fire support, to be honest. And Earth is kind of like, well, we already have it in Sylvie. So I was kind of hoping for not Earth here, but maybe we'll get a support. Maybe the Sukiko, since her elements are fire and light, maybe we'll get Sukiko, and maybe one form will have fire and light support, and maybe it'll have demon, fairy, and maybe one more killer support. Or we could just leave her having 2, and maybe the next one will have 3, so that all 8 races have some really, really high level support in the vein of Sylvie's killer buffs. Maybe that unit could have 2 elements as well, 2 elements of support there. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, I would just like to see more from the other units, though, to make them usable, of course, in Clash. And yeah, that's pretty much everything that happened this week. Decent week. Compensation was okay. Lots of stuff to do. It was a great time to start a new account in the last few weeks if you didn't bind it to Facebook, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, the 8 or 9 weeks in a row of raid is really helpful for anybody starting a new account and everything. Outside of anniversary, this is probably the best time to start a new account. So yeah, hopefully there'll be some more players coming into the game, and there'll be a big push to get that to happen, and we'll see some more people venture on back in when we get that new UI update. I'm hoping that they get that to us by October. But yeah, next week's probably not going to be very interesting. The units are all duds. It's just more Vision World. There's going to be a new raid, and that's pretty much it. So we won't have much to talk about next week. But yeah, if you want to ever join us live, like I mentioned at the top of the show, just check out the link below. I'm going to go ahead and get this all ready to go and get uploaded, and then we're going to go ahead and do some raids, our weekly raids in Final Fantasy XIV. If you want to check out that, just come on over and join us. Links in the description below. Thanks to the community, of course, for all having each other's backs during that outage and all that. It was kind of rough, but at least we were all, we all had each other's shoulders to cry on when we couldn't log in for 6 days, and it's all resolved now. So yeah, take it easy, guys, and we will see you next Wednesday on This Week in Brave Exvius.